First of all, how has COVID affected your business? And tell us, what do power consumption modelling show you about the state of affairs on the streets of the country?
If we look at the last 1 year, the power consumption came down last year in the month of April and May. It came down by nearly 30 to 35% in different parts of the country, primarily because of the industries which were closed down and the commercial establishments. However, the household consumption went up. But subsequently, in the month of October to November, December, in that quarter, things improved and it was back to normal. And in fact, it increased during that period vis-a-vis the previous year. So I think it has been a yo-yo for last 1 year. We again see that for last 1.5 months, the power consumption in April and May has been much less, primarily because of the second wave of COVID. And we are expecting that once the industries are back and also some of the commercial establishments which closed down, we possibly have an increase in consumption going forward in the month of June and July.
Well, that would indicate perhaps a sense of normalization taking place as we come out of what is the worst crisis facing the country in decades here as well. But, give us people are talking even now about a third wave. Are you preparing for that in any way? And if so, I suppose you must be well versed in that, given that we've had 2 waves already.
Yeah, I think the second wave was more of a surprise, because everyone thought that COVID has gone and life is back to normal. All the shops and commercial establishments opened up. The metro rail and the train services opened up. And people become very careless in terms of social distancing and using the protective mask. However, the second wave has been quite traumatic. A lot of people have lost their lives, which did not happen in the first wave. And I think the learning lesson is that even when after the second wave, the reopening of the industry and the business takes place, people will be more cautious. So I feel that if we take adequate precautions and we do not indulge in unsafe behavior, we will possibly may not have a third wave to the extent that people are anticipating. But I think the second wave, which actually was the real COVID impact that came into the country, because in the first wave, we didn't have too many fatalities, we didn't have too much of hospitalization, and now the infrastructure and the gearing up that has taken place by the medical services, I think we'll be much better tuned to handling it if at all there is a third wave.
Praveer, I want to talk about your renewables business that's being restructured. What's the latest on that?
Well, we have been looking at renewable in a big way. As you know, that we are in the whole chain of renewable, right from manufacturing to EPC to large utility scale development projects to rooftop solar to solar pumps and now microgrids. So we expect that the whole portfolio of solutions in renewable that we provide will be able to really take forward the decarbonization and decentralization agenda that we have set for ourselves. We are very clear that the future is for renewable, and with more technologies and opportunities in storage and demand response that comes in, we will possibly have a scenario in next 20 to 30 years that we can have 100% renewable energy supply available for consumers to use.
We understand that you're looking to IPO your renewables business to raise about 35 billion rupees. First of all, can you confirm that? Second of all, if you're listing, where you're looking at, within India, outside of India?
We've not taken any decision on this, so this is right now very speculative whether we will do any of these things. But as a company, we keep on looking at opportunities as to how best to maximize and optimize our resources. And we definitely look at all the opportunities which is there, especially considering that the focus globally is on ESG. And as a company in India, we are right across in the whole chain of renewables. So I think there is a great opportunity, but these things we keep on exploring and examining, and only at the right time, when we take a decision, we'll be able to come and announce about it.
Well, Praveer, I mean, the thing is that you had this timeline to reduce your net debts to, what, 250 billion rupees. That was March of this year. Naturally, events have overtaken all that. How important would this IPO be in terms of reducing that debt? That's one part of the question. And number two is, what's the new timeline to get the level of debt down to those levels that you targeted?
Well, what we were looking at is not an absolute number, but the whole objective was that we reduce our debt and deleverage our balance sheet so that we are financially capable of looking at the growth opportunity. So from 43,000 crores, we came down to 35,000 this year. And our debt equity ratio has reduced to 1.42, which is very healthy for an infrastructure and a power company. And we definitely feel that we are now in a much better position financially to take forward our growth agenda. We, of course, keep on looking at opportunities whereby we can monetize some of our assets. We still have some divestments that we need to do in Zambia and other countries. So I think all in all, the objective is that how do we deleverage our balance sheet and how do we become financially strong to take up the growth agenda that we have set for ourselves.
You talk about deleveraging, selling assets to cut debt. Which assets next? Which assets can be expected to be sold next?
We are looking at the divestment in Zambia, where there's a hydropower plant and we have a 50% stake. We also have a hydropower plant in Georgia, where we again have 50% stake. We have a smaller coal mine in Indonesia. So these are definitely on the table. We had also divested from one of the coal mines in Indonesia a few years back. Part of the money is still to be received, and we expect a good amount of money to be received in this year. And of course, we have Tata projects at some stage. We will look at divesting from that also when the market is better. So I think all in all, we are looking at getting away from some of these single isolated investments that we had done and putting that money on the growth, especially in the renewable growth and the distribution growth, and some of the new businesses like the EV and ESCO services that we have identified, and thereby become a large company in the consumer space, retail space, and also in the renewable space.